Hello, YouTube. How are we doing? I can't read. I'm Justin, and this is Ben.
What's up, my nerds?
Take two.
And I'm Ross here with GregBros.
And today we are reviewing The Killing Joke. But we kind of want to go through it and give it our take on it, as well as kind of look at the good and the bad of the video. Let's start off with Ben. Ben, give us your take on The Killing Joke.
I actually think it's one of the best Batman movies I've seen. Is it perfect? No. But I don't know. I've always actually preferred watching the animated Batman more than the actual live-action Batmans. I thought that the performances were top-notch from Batman and the Joker and each of the characters that were in
Kevin Conroy
and Mark Hamill. And Tara Strong.
Yeah, they were all great, and they all reprised their roles from the old series. The quality of this was better than many of the episodes from the old show. Not all the episodes, because there's some episodes from Batman the animated series that were just like blow your mind.
What do you mean about the quality?
The quality?
Yeah.
Well, just the storytelling and the acting and the direction and really just all of the things that make up a good production. The prologue, while I didn't think it was terrible, I think that it could have been better. I don't know, I felt like it could have had more connective tissue with The Killing Joke. It sort of felt like you were watching two movies.
Here's what it felt like to me. The prologue was not The Killing Joke, and it didn't really belong. They wanted it there to develop Barbara Gordon and Batman and this relationship they decided had to be there. And then what I felt they could have done, because I actually like The Killing Joke.
I actually appreciated, though, that they did develop Barbara Gordon.
It was okay that they did that, but what they should have done is they should have treated it as a prologue separate from The Killing Joke rather than trying to tell it as like the same story. So like that first addition that they made to Alan Moore's comic with Batgirl and Batman, it should have had like a little subtitling come up, you know, the prologue, or maybe a date or something to show it. And then when that story was done, it fades to black, which it kind of did. It went to the next scene, but a long black pause with another title, The Killing Joke. Like, okay, here it's starting. Boom. That way it was separate, so Alan Moore's comic and vision there was not convoluted in any way or changed, but they still got to do their little...
Well, see, with Alan Moore's comic, you actually had like previous Batman comics from other comic book writers that developed those characters. It's like Alan Moore didn't have to give Barbara Gordon a lot of backstory in his comic because her character was already developed in other comics. But in film, it isn't that way. I mean, in film, you kind of have to develop a character before having them get, shot. You know what, though? I thought that this was an extremely faithful adaptation, though.
The 40 minutes of the actual adaptation, sure, but I kind of get why they wanted to add in this prologue.
Well, they needed to because it was so short.
It was so short. That's possibly the main reason. The other reason is I don't think a lot of people have really an in-depth knowledge between the relationship between Batman and Batgirl. I mean, for some of you out there who read the comics and who maybe scour Wikipedia a lot, you kind of know like there's a whole deeper story between the two. A lot of it is they've had a couple relationships. I think they just really wanted to show that that quick rush to passion and then the quick disconnect between that two.
Yeah, I didn't. I'll be honest, I didn't really see what the controversy about that was, other than it wasn't in Alan Moore's comic. Because I know a lot of purists wouldn't want that in there, but the thing is
a lot of people were mad just because of how Batman treated Batgirl. I mean, he just pretty much just wham bam thank you and doesn't call her for weeks. So we show Batman as pretty much as the alpha bro coming in and banging Batgirl and. Now he's off.
I think a lot of it is the fact that there's also a stronger relationship that's been developed canon, and that's the fact that Gordon and Bruce Wayne and Batman are like best buds, and Batman's almost taken upon the role of being another father figure to not Barbara Gordon, because that's why Gordon is there, but Batman is the father figure to Batgirl. And even in this cartoon, they establish that straight off. He's very protective of her and he wants her to stay safe. And as you watch The Killing Joke with this insert that they did, it translates more as a father-daughter, and then all of a sudden it's a love relationship. And it's disturbing, because, I mean, come on. Banging your best bud's daughter when you're in your, like, 40s was...
Let's talk about the actual, like, prologue of the story. So we start out with Batgirl spying on Batman and Commissioner Gordon, and they have a tip of a robbery in place. Batgirl meets this new character, Paris France, greatest villain name ever.
Paris France.
And then he develops some sort of crush on her. But the whole prologue of the story just kind of ends very fast. I mean, it's a quick resolution, which, you know, if we understand, you know, they just want to get into The Killing Joke. But there wasn't enough to really make this guy kind of where we want more Paris France. I mean, do you guys want more Paris France? I honestly don't.
With Paris France, there's kind of a line in there where Batman almost kind of suggests that he's kind of got the same characteristics as the Joker.
Yeah,
like
I felt
kind
that.
Of
what was the line that he
he's
says?
Got.
That he hasn't seen this sort of madness in a while.
Yeah, I thought that was really good, and I thought that was one of the sort of things that sort of connected this earlier part of the movie.
But if you really think about like any Batman villain has some sort of a sociopath.
Yeah.
I mean, they really want attention. The thing about this is just I think they were just trying to rush to add more to the movie. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just a quick resolution.
From what I've heard, a lot of people wouldn't have been against fleshing out The Killing Joke a little bit more for a cinematic experience. Rather than this intro, they could have done a lot of that in between the pages of the Alan Moore comic. Because in a comic book world, there is only so much you can do from page to page to page to page as far as developing characters, dialogue, whatnot. You're usually kind of rushed. If you ever read the conversations between characters in a comic book and were to relate that to a real situation, it probably wouldn't take place that way.
So let's talk about like from going from comic to actual video. So when they open The Killing Joke, we have Batman walking into Arkham Asylum and going straight for the Joker. And he opens up in the comic. He opens up that question, you know, basically asking the Joker like, "What are we doing at this point?" Kind of like, you know, where's this relationship going at? So where do you think? Was there any changes? I mean, was it like a straight like from page?
When I was watching it, it was pretty close to the comic book, which, again, with what I was saying with the pacing of it, if once it hits The Killing Joke, the scenes go by real quick between each scene to the next scene to the next scene, and when you hit Gordon and the experience the Joker puts him through, it seems like you're only a few minutes into it when that all starts.
Yeah, that's actually where I find it lacking. But
that was the most edited part of it.
Which
and for an R-rated cartoon, did not deserve an R rating.
Yeah.
That scene there proved that it didn't.
Yeah,
PG-13 at best.
There's some iconic scenes that they actually put in there that I think that like it's a perfect adaptation from page to video. Like the scene where right after Joker shoots Barbara Gordon and he's undressing her. There's that moment where they have a close-up on Joker's face, and they don't show his actual eyes; they just show the beams of light, like the actual insanity of what Joker is.
The blackness with the
blackness.
The white.
That was really creepy too.
Yeah, those are some of the iconic images that I really love that they added in there. Yeah. The other one was right after Joker falls into the chemicals at the Ace Chemical plant. And he walks out. He throws off the Red Hood and he looks at himself in a puddle of water.
And his mind breaks.
And that's the point where he snaps and just completely goes insane. And you have that iconic picture of Joker just grabbing his face, ruffling through his hair, and he's laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what sold me at the movie.
He's got a little bit of blood coming out of his eyes.
Exactly. Yeah, because that's a culmination of just everything that this poor man went through. I mean, Joker's a crazy guy and he's done some really sick stuff. But you know, in this movie that Alan Moore originally wrote, he wanted to, you know, create some sort of I guess rags to riches
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Story of the Joker. He's a failed stand-up comic, and he's trying to provide for his now pregnant wife, and everything's not going for him. And he decides to turn to crime to make a quick buck, and then he finds out his wife dies, and then his failed crime spree, and that's just the tipping point.
Yeah, the one bad day.
The
one bad day. Now the art was different a little bit. You kind of mentioned that they stylized a lot of the scenes from the comic, but that was one thing that was different. A good portion of this resembles
It's done in the Bruce Timm style.
The Bruce Timm from the 1990s Batman cartoon. It's more like that, and one of my complaints that I was sharing earlier was the frame rate of the animation. To me, it just comes across sloppy that they would have such a beloved story that originally wasn't written to be canon, but became canon because of how popular it was, that they would do that, and that Warner Bros. Would do that. And that's not typical of the DC universe now. You watch any of the Justice League cartoons that are more recent, they're by far much better animated than this was. And I'm not talking about style, I'm talking about the frame rate. And I get it was direct to Blu-ray. Ben would be quick to remind me of that. But still. Come on.
I think they wanted to do it as like a throwback to the old school Batman animated Avengers. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one way
that's how they were animated. I mean, that was part of the style. Yeah.
So what'd you think about the animation style then?
I thought it looked fantastic, but
it was nostalgic to the fact that it was Bruce Timm.
Yeah. I went in there kind of expecting it to look like that because it was Bruce Timm.
I did
so
too.
I wasn't disappointed.
I didn't expect to dislike it as much as I did. I actually went in because I'd seen the trailers, and it's the same thing you see in the trailers. But I guess just sitting there in the theater, relaxing, sitting back, throwing my legs up next to the other person's head in front of me. It just wasn't the experience that I had hoped for. The Joker does a stand-up Broadway song while Gordon is being caravanned around. That animation was so painful.
That's the kind of thing. That's the one part I really hated about the movie. Besides Paris, France.
What, the song?
No, not the song. Just the scene where he's being trolleyed around. That's the one part I kind of wish that they would have done a lot better, especially going from comic to video. So in the comics, the artist Brian Holland, who drew this comic for Alan Moore, you really see the insanity of what Joker's trying to produce, trying to make Gordon crack, and this one it didn't.
It was censored.
It was censored. You want to say censored?
I kind of feel like it was censored. The art style, and the reason why I say censored is for being rated R. I don't think it was intended to be rated R. I feel like the whole Deadpool thing made it an easy grasp. Does it even say the F word?
I don't think. I don't remember it saying.
It may not even say the F word.
I'm so desensitized.
Not that I wanted that. I mean, I don't feel like that's needed. But I was kind of expecting it, and I was expecting a lot more.
We wanted Batman to.
Literally, the beginning of this movie, there's two robbers in a truck, and they're having a conversation, and they keep saying, "What the F is that?" But they literally say F. What the F is that? And this is rated R, or who the F is that? What the F did that? What the F's on top of our truck?
Maybe DC didn't want to tarnish their great track record of animation.
I guess.
Films.
But yeah, that was definitely I don't feel like that was intended originally.
Yeah, so going back to kind of the controversy that it kind of blew up. I mean, it was like a controversy for about a day, and I think everyone has settled on it. But I don't understand why that people kind of threw a fit that Batman and Barbara Gordon banged.
I kind of got over it real quick. Really, I just kind of wish it tied into the movie more, or was intentionally separate.
You were saying that you thought that connected something, like it gave Batman a motivation later in the movie.
Yeah, that gives everyone a motivation.
Yeah.
To get more.
I want to hear this. Yeah, to get more.
No. The actual connection is, we see Batman and Barbara Gordon kind of fully express express their feelings for each other. But you see at the scene where after Barbara Gordon gets shot and he's in the hospital, and she says to Batman, you know, "We took my dad." You know, that's motivation. Like, oh, you hurt someone I care about. Joker, I'm going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's talk about the end. I think the end is probably one of the greatest things ever. The very last part of the movie, where Batman basically laughs at Joker's killing joke, if one would say. I would really like to see any reactions of people who have never really read the comic or really don't understand the ending. Because if someone who's new to the Killing Joke, they're gonna say like, this is a pretty crappy ending. I mean, like they're just laughing.
Yeah,
it just kind of ends like that.
And Bruce Wayne mainly does the ending laughing to it. Mm-hmm. Which was it that way in the comic? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was that way.
Bruce Wayne.
It was. For me, I always thought it was Alan Moore's way of just saying, like, this is me showing humanity between two people. Mm-hmm. You know, because they're not super powered, and they've had this. It's a callback to the very beginning of the comic book, where Batman is saying like, "Where is our relationship going? We're gonna kill each other." And I guess you said earlier that Joker ends up winning because he does essentially kill Batman. Thank you guys for watching this. At this point, we're just gonna give our rating of the Killing Joke, and then we'll have you on your merry way. Ben, out of what are we doing? 1 out of 10 stars. 1 out of 10 stars.
I would probably say that it's. I would probably say that it's 8.5 stars.
How many stars?
8.5.
Oh, I thought I heard 1.8 stars. I was like, oh, dang.
No way. No way.
Okay, so 8.5 stars.
Ross?
That's actually probably exactly what I would give it. I would, if there was just a few things fixed. The problem with this is that it should have been 100% easy, but they did make those little flaws.
You know what though?
So I was at 8.5.
Even with the flaws, though, I think it's one of the best Batman animated features that's out there.
I would have to agree with you guys. I would also give it an 8.5. What would you give that sandwich a rating? Anyway,
dude,
I would give it.
It's been sitting down there for a while, so the bun's a little soggy. I don't know if you saw that running down my face. It is still pretty good. We're gonna. This here is the 100. This is what the Killing Joke should have been.
Just a chicken sandwich,
dude. And there is a love affair. There's a Batman Gordon thing going on right here.
So
in my mouth.
So yeah, I would also give it an 8.5, just because of some of the stuff they should have been easily adapted to the movie itself.
That's pretty awesome. 8.5 across the board. So
across the board.
But 8.5, that's a B+. So people, go out and see this movie. Well, I guess you can't, but buy it on Blu-ray on August 2nd. Warner Bros. Animation. Check it out.
On DVD or video on demand. Be sure to check it out. It's a great addition to DC's animation.
And please like, comment, subscribe to our channel, share us with your friends and family. If you want to see us do reviews of other things, comment below.